Hey everybody, Jared Duckett, Duckett Ladd Dental CPAs and Advisors here with Paula Wall, Dental Controller at the firm. Paula, how are you?
I'm good, Jared. How are you?
I'm good, good, good. We were just chatting, right? Start of the year, dating this thing January the 5th, snow outside, winter is here, right?
It is here for sure.
Well, I love it. Well, I appreciate it. We haven't done one of these videos in a while, but we're going to kick them back, come to you guys with some good info. And what we're going to talk about is, this kind of dates us a little bit here, but the employee retention tax credit and a program specifically around that. And no, this is not more ERC money, or the ability to get more money or anything. It's a program specifically addressing, if you got the ERC money. So Paula, why don't you just real quick dive in high level, refresh people on ERC, what it was, that fun stuff.
Sure. If you guys remember, ERC, Employee Retention Tax Credit, was one of several of the COVID relief programs that came out in 2020 and was extended into 2021. And what this one was basically a payroll tax-based credit that rewarded you for keeping employees on payroll during the pandemic. Some qualifications included, were you shut down by the government for a period of time? Did you have a specific percentage of loss of revenue compared to a base period? And if you had all those things and qualified, you could run a calculation and get a certain percentage of qualifying employees' wages back as a credit, which would eventually be refunded to you.
Yeah. And a lot, that was 2020 and 2021 really is where that ran, right? Those years.
That's correct.
Boy, that feels forever ago. But
It does.
this program, this video is hitting on this ERC Voluntary Disclosure Program. So this is pretty recent. I'm not sure exactly when it was released, but this is what we want to hit on. And so Paula, just high level, want to talk about, hey, what it is, who can apply, who's eligible, what the advantages are, that fun stuff. But just real quick, like give a brief overview. What is this Voluntary Disclosure Program?
Yeah, so the voluntary disclosure program, the IRS has found that there were a lot of predatory companies out there that have encouraged businesses to apply for employee retention credits that they didn't actually qualify for. The IRS was pretty much overrun, put a moratorium on accepting them for a while. This is one of their solutions to that problem. If you have come to the realization that you applied for and received the employee retention tax credit when you really shouldn't have, you really didn't qualify, this program gives you an option and a process by which you can repay a portion of that to the IRS. And basically avoid some of the interest and penalties and so forth that might come into play if the IRS figured that out for you, basically, and sent you a notice.
Yeah, and it's I think it's still going on. I don't know if you get text on this stuff all the time, but you get text, voicemails,
Yeah.
emails, clients call like, hey, these people are calling me asking about employee retention tax credit. Well, yeah, we've talked about that, right? If you apply or not, but you're exactly right. This program specifically to those individuals that maybe had talked to those individuals and erroneously, if you will, applied and received that credit. So talk about who can apply for this program, like who's eligible to apply for this program.
So if you are a business that claimed the ERTC, Employee Retention Credit, that on a tax return, a payroll tax return, or amended, a lot of people amended because they
Yeah.
changed the rules retroactively. If you received the refund check or took a credit on another payroll tax return, so if you haven't received the refund check, this doesn't apply. There's a separate process for that. But if you've received the refund, deposited the refund, and now you realize, hey, I shouldn't have gotten it, that this is for you. A few caveats: if you're under audit for your employment taxes by the IRS, or you're under a criminal investigation, this doesn't apply, or if the IRS has already told you, hey, you didn't qualify for this. If you've already gotten those letters and are in the process with the IRS, that ship has kind of sailed, and you couldn't use this program.
So basically you applied and you already either received the money or gotten the credit, and then those caveats you just went through, this is for you. And you now think you weren't entitled to it, right? Like,
Exactly.
oh man, like this is not, I shouldn't have gotten that, right?
Yeah.
So that's for you. So let's go through these advantages. What's some of the advantages, right, of doing this, like applying, getting accepted, if you will, to the program? What's some of the advantages to it?
So, one major advantage is that while you do have to repay the money that you got from the ERTC in error, you only have to pay 80% of it back.
Okay.
So, you do get to keep a little bit there. As you guys may know, if you received it on like an amended return basis, the IRS did include an interest payment with that refund check. You do not have to repay that interest, so you get to keep that as well. You don't have to go back and amend any prior year returns, which is something you would have had to do if you received the credit. Your income tax returns, I should clarify, you wouldn't have to amend those. That 20% that you get to keep is not taxable income, and they will not charge any more penalties or interest on that, and they will not examine your payroll tax returns for the periods that are part of this voluntary disclosure.
Interesting. So a lot of advantages there. So I'm an accountant, right? Let's use numbers. Say your ERC was $10,000, but let's say you received back $10,100 because you got $100 of interest. You pay back $8,000 and you get to keep that 2,000, that 20%. Plus that $100 of interest, tax-free, right? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's the rules of the program there. So that's a definite advantage.
Yeah, so it's not, and you got to think, like, a lot of these tax credit companies and stuff, like you paid the fee to, already. So not having to repay it all, you still kind of have some of that money, if you will. How to apply, Paula? There's a lot here on how to apply. We'll put links to this in the notes here, but basically the big things, right, is this for you, right? Who can apply? Go through that. And a lot of the stuff we're talking through, we're going to include a link here specifically from the IRS that goes through this. What is it? I'm asking you this on the fly, Paula, you're the expert. What's it open through? Do we have deadlines? There's always deadlines in this stuff,
We
right?
do, and
Oh,
that
gotta love a good deadline.
it's the IRS, man. There's got to be deadlines. And it's a fairly quick deadline. The deadline is March 22nd of 2024. So just a few months out here. So if this is something that you think you're eligible for, by all means, click on the link in the notes and look into it, and go through that application process to get that in.
Yeah, like you said, it's an application process, goes through the IRS, they'll accept it or not accept it, and then there goes through, to the repayment, and then there's actually a closing agreement, it looks like you sign.
Exactly. That is kind of the final piece of the puzzle, is that closing agreement.
So long story short, we're staying high level on this, how it works. Just wanted to really get it out there. ERC VDP, gotta love another good acronym. ERC VDP, this is not more ERC money. This is a program specifically if you received it erroneously and you're like, I shouldn't have received that. This is that program to accept it and pay it back. Awesome. Anything else, Paul, you can think of?
I think that is that's a pretty good summary.
We're the expert on this ERC stuff, so as we get more stuff, I don't know, maybe this is over, but anything else, having you back on, and appreciate your help. If you guys have questions out there, let us know. But that's it, ERC VDP. Here we are. All right. We'll talk soon. We'll see you guys.